Are we live?
We're live.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 201. I did miss the big hoorah of episode 200 as a little tropical storm that I like to call Lil Debbie rolled through town and knocked out my internet for like 4 days, knocked out power for like a day and a half, and it flooded the property that I work on a pretty significant amount. So, but we're back better than ever. It is just us three tonight, Ben, Evan, and myself. Matt and
Yes.
Josh, I don't even know what they're doing, but they're both not here this week. So I'm assuming
Yeah,
some
no
sort of
clue.
travel, and good for them. So they will
Oh no.
be here next week. I know I'm kind of like lagging out, aren't I?
No, you're
Yeah,
good.
just a
Okay,
little
we're
bit,
back.
but we got you.
Okay, cool. Awesome. I know they'll be back next week. We're going to have kind of a big show because we got the World Championships coming up. World Championships coming up, the number one disc golf tournament in the world, I guess,
Yeah.
for the year. All the pros really, really want to win that one. And even cooler, I used to live in Lynchburg, Virginia. So pretty awesome to see it going down there. And I'm hoping to get out there for a couple days to go check out all of the action. But that is pretty great. This episode is presented by Disc Golf 978. Check them out at discgolf978.com. They have the absolute best prices, the bottom prices that they are allowed to do for all their discs. They have custom apparel. If you're running tournaments, reach out to them. They can help you out with amateur payouts and all that fun stuff over at Disc Golf 978 and use the code WeLove978. And that is coming from us here at Staggered Stance. Talking about the World Championships, we have had a ton of big tournaments over the last couple of weeks out in Europe. We've had Ledgestone, and then we just had the LWS Open over at Idlewild, which Evan, Mr. Stat Mando, is going to give us a recap on now.
Yeah, favorite time of the week. I mean, besides watching disc golf or playing disc golf myself, or talking other subjects with you guys, but it is a great time. But who's having a better time right now is Mr. Joey Buggets. Joseph Anderson gets his first ever Elite Series win, his first ever disc golf pro tour win. That is a huge moment for him. He won in a pretty dramatic fashion. It was all over the place in that final round. Calvin Heimberg came into the final round with the lead. Isaac Robinson was charging hot. And then Mr. Buckets just kind of squeezed past their back nine and then took the lead and didn't look back. I think hole 17 really, really cemented it. Both him and Calvin Heimberg had a putt. I think Heimberg was down 1 to Anderson at that time, and Calvin hits cage, and then Mr. Buckets gets it in the bucket and gets a 2-stroke lead going to the final hole. But if you didn't watch it, craziest thing on the final hole, he just has to get a par to win. He's man, I don't actually know the distance. I mean, they might have showed it on Disc Golf Network, but I don't have it in my memory
Probably
of
at
how far
least
it was. But
250 feet.
yeah, that was gonna be my guess.
Like I would say at the minimum 250 feet from where.
Yeah, let's say 250 to 300, doing a patent pending stance to get around a tree. Guy just is, I mean, probably trying to park it, but he throws a dime, a laser beam right at the basket, hits cage, drops right in front. He taps in for the birdie for his victory. That was a throw-in attempt for eagle, I should say, as well. What a moment. Charlie Eisenhower on the call said, it could have been the greatest ending to a tournament since the Holy Shot. I might have to agree with that. But nonetheless, it was an incredible shot to cap off an incredible event for Joey Buckets. I want to be formal here and call him Joseph Anderson, but it just feels wrong too. I feel like
yeah, I know, right?
Buckets, so I don't know. I feel like Nate Doss is just calling him Mr. Buckets, so I gotta keep that going on. But he's been great all year. I mean, he was looking good in the Rookie of the Year race last year. He comes out hot to start this year down at chess.com in your neck of the woods, Nick, and he's been making a name for himself all throughout the year. Some meh finishes in between. The broadcast noted that he missed the cut in his previous 2 events out of the that was the European Open, I believe, was the first one of the 2, and then Ledgestone last week. But he's been looking great all year, and disc golf is hard nowadays, and he gets the victory, a monumental one for himself. So Ben, I'll throw it over to you. You're a big Buckets fan yourself, so what'd you see this weekend? What do you like from Joey getting his first win?
I saw a lot of greatness, honestly, from Joey. I think it was no surprise because he came out kind of hot, chess.com, and he was playing solid. as you said, the past 2 events he missed the cut, but still, if you go and look back on his finishes, he's finishing like 6th, 7th, I believe 12th at Open at Austin. He did good at DDO, and I think this is kind of not really, like I said, surprising at all. He's just always been a smooth player, and this is what Idlewild has shown. I believe this is where Kyle Klein got his first win, and this is where Isaac Robinson got his first win. And
you're gonna have to go deeper on that list too, Ben.
Okay. So give me all the stats on that.
Hold on, I actually gotta bring it up. I might be able to do it from memory, but you mentioned Kyle Klein, Isaac Robinson. I have it right here. I mean, Statmando shared it today. Kevin Jones in 2019, before that, and then James Conrad in 2017. So now 5 of the 8 winners at the LWS Open at Idlewild have been first-time Disc Golf Pro Tour winners. And then all 8 years of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the MPO winner has been different every single year.
Yes,
that's pretty wild.
No repeat winners, which in the first-time winner says something, but it's not first-time winners then never win again. These are big names who've made a name for himself throughout the year. Correct. Many major winners. I mean, James Conrad won in 2017, but he was a name for himself already then, and then goes on to win multiple majors. Paul McBeth's in that group, winning in 2018. Eagle McMahon won in 2020 as well for the non-new winners. Then Gannon Burr last year, of course. So I don't think you can call any of these winners feels unearned or fluky, whatever bad adjective you could throw to it. I don't feel like it fits to this.
That's exactly what you said. It was what I was getting at. It seemed, even Kevin Jones and Conrad, it seemed like this Idlewild wind was kind of the thing they need to get the wind underneath their sails and keep going and succeed. So I think it was an awesome win by Joey Buckets. I mean, 9 down, 9 down, 10 down. I'm curious as to, maybe this is a good Statman question. I feel like last year there was a lot more like 13 downs. There's like a 14 down. I feel like there's a lot more better scoring or hotter scoring last year. Do you have any idea why that would happen, or is it just how it was playing this year? Because 9, 9, 10, I feel like if you were to ask me before, I thought it would have been like 12, 13, 12 to win this year.
Yeah, there was a few minor changes, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like one hole got hard or something different fairway. I honestly, courses change all the time. That's something I'm not as good as maybe other people are at picking up.
I think hole 8 last year was a par 5. It was an eagleable par 5 for the MPO division. This year they just called it a par 4 for the MPO division. So there's one, because I was actually just looking at last year's Calvin's win, and he had shot, I think it was like 11-9 or 11-10-12 or 13, or excuse me, Gannon's win last year. His best round was 12 down. And so, yeah, there might have just been some par changes here and there, maybe a couple different course changes. But for the most part, I guess all Buckets needed was 9, 9, and 10.
Yeah, let me pull it up here real quick. For MPO, Gannon won with a 12 in the final round and 9 and 11. So, yeah, I mean, 2 strokes hotter. So it doesn't feel that crazy. He won at 32
definitely
down.
Not.
And this year, Joseph Anderson was at, did I say 3 strokes? That's 4 strokes.
4 strokes.
Hotter, but yeah, course changes. I mean, could just be a little bit windier, could be a little bit tighter OB in a couple places.
You can literally take the par from that one hole rounds and their strokes, 3 strokes right there. So
great point. All right, moving on to FPO. We'll talk to Mr. Joey Buckets here shortly and get a great interview with him. We've had him on the show at least once before. I feel like multiple times maybe, but definitely once. And
at least once.
He's a winner. But Ohn Scoggins wins an FPO, her second win of the season for Disc Golf Pro Tour events. She's on a crazy run, as it feels like she always is. That's 9 straight top 5s across all PDG events, which I want to highlight that because that's mostly Elite Series events and FPO, but it does include a Masters Major and an MPO C tier that she has finished top 5 in. And she didn't go over to Europe, but she feels like she's just playing as good as anyone right now, winning at Idlewild, which I'm not going to boast too much for myself, but was my lock pick along with Josh. And I feel like Ben or Nick, one of you guys had it too. So maybe it wasn't that crazy. Yeah, so good on us. But Emily Weatherman was leading after the round, looking like she was going to get another great win for her young career, but then Ohn Scoggins takes it back in the second round and then doesn't look back. And I don't know if I want to say walks into the victory. Maybe felt that way, but certainly still had to earn it in round 3 to get the win. And she's in second in Disc Golf Pro Tour points. I think that's going to be really interesting, especially as we get into Worlds and see what happens after Worlds with all the extra points for a major and the final major for FPO of this year. And you only get to count 2 of those 4. So most players are going to drop a place by now. If they're winning, they're going to drop something else. And if they finish, if Ohn finishes like 10th, I think she's going to drop that one. So definitely interesting. Natalie Ryan finishes in second place, and then Sarah Hokum finishes in third place. And I want to highlight that because it's Hokum's first podium at an Elite Series event since Ledgestone of last year. Maybe this year has been tough on her, but it's really cool to see her come back. Really at a historic course now. Tour's getting old, and this has been here since 2017 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So really cool to see this course stick around, and Sarah Hokum definitely enjoyed that aspect to it. But throwing it back to Ohn Scoggins, Nick, what did you feel like for this victory?
In a sense, I shouldn't be surprised, but I was kind of surprised. Just because there were so many great players, especially after Emily Weatherman's hot start, but then just an absolute collapse of a second round. And there was a lot of players who did collapse that second round, and Ohn just kept pushing. And then able to watch her on coverage for the third round was just, and I think second round as well, if I'm not mistaken, but watching her play in the third round, at least the first 12 or 13 holes, she had tied or was just above the course record, and then went double bogey, bogey, or double bogey towards the end of the stretch. But she had such a commanding lead at that point. Realistically, the only player that was pushing her was Natalie Ryan from the chase card, who was a few holes ahead. So it was just silky smooth. She was hitting great putts. She just, in the woods and even in the open, but mostly in the woods, she just throws that chop forehand that usually skips to 20 or 30 feet, but she's so good at putting that she's drilling all those putts and she's making the birdies in the right spot. She also has, not the most distance on her backhand, but she's accurate enough to play in the tight woods as well. So just honestly, a dominating win, minus a few holes towards the end of it, but a pretty dominating win for Ohn for some reason I didn't pick her this week. Maybe I've used her 3 or 4 times. Maybe I'm saving her, but it was very fun to watch. The FPO coverage was enjoyable to watch, and I love watching Idlewild just in general and FPO.
Yeah, great course. Bringing it back to MPO, want to highlight a few of the podium finishers or nearby. Calvin Heimberg, who is leading into the final round, finishes tied for second along with Ezra Robinson. Calvin looking for his first win at the LWS Open, and didn't happen this year, but he gets his third podium in his history of this event, which now makes it the most podiums from a major or an Elite Series event without a win for Calvin Heimberg. So if he's had a handful of events with more than 3 podiums, but he's won that event at least one time. So this one he's still looking for. But then also notably Calvin Heimberg looking for his first major victory of his career. And as we come into Worlds, that's something he's definitely looking out for. Ezra Robinson, we've been saying his name week in and week out. He's stalwart at the top of the leaderboard this year. And he was looking around, kind of a late push. I think chase card, maybe third card, but just, a little bit too little, too late. Couldn't catch up to Anderson, but at least was putting the pressure on. And then Emerson Keith had a great tournament, finishing tied for 4th, but want to mention Isaac Robinson, who finished tied for 4th. He was looking to be the first for repeat champion. It looked like he was going to get it. If you remember back a couple years ago, he was lights out here. It felt like we were seeing that same Isaac Robinson this week. Just, getting the luckiest lines, but just everything was working for him. But then picks up a streak of bogeys, and that pretty much ended his tournament right there. Still gets a quality finish, but the win was not his this weekend. And then Andrew Marweed finishes in 6th. He feels like he always plays this course well. And then I'll jump down to tie for 8th. Gannon Berg getting yet another top 10. Wasn't really quite in the mix this week, but still another great finish. I know he's going for that consistency this year, and with tons of wins already, I'm sure he's maybe okay with this finish. So Nick, I'll go over to you, but Ben, let us know if Mr. Buckets is in the green room, and we'll jump over to him. But Nick, looking down the
Will
leaderboard,
do.
did anyone else spark your eye?
Well, I mean, the biggest one, and they said this on coverage as well, but shout out to Ezra Robinson right now, who's playing. He's having an absolutely incredible year. He's gotten second place back-to-back weekends. He's gotten another second place in there mixed in with some other podium finishes. I feel like, he hasn't won, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think, but he hasn't won an Elite Series event yet. So
Nope.
if you look at all the people on the list that have not won an Elite Series, who I feel like are the next person to actually win one, Ezra Robinson, I feel like has to be on the top of the list for most people out there. Calvin Heimberg, we saw a push for the win, a push for the lead, wasn't able to capitalize it. It's something that we have seen out of Calvin before. Just some streaky putting, some low putts at the end of up a big time eagle, him and Isaac over on hole 16, but wasn't able to cap it off. Isaac Robinson was playing a great round. Marweed, after a sluggish first round, was able to come back and play pretty well. And let's see. Other than that, you just have a lot of people. Garrett Gerthy was a great one to watch get up there. Gannon, once again, was outside of the top 10 going into the final round, but makes enough of a push to make it back into the top 10. And then, yeah, I mean, shoot, you could keep going down and down the list. And shout out Ben Calloway, had an ace on hole 9. So,
Oh, that's right. Leading after round 1, and then it was round 2 that he had the ace, correct?
yes. Yep.
Yeah, what a moment for him. He's been playing. It feels like he's been making a name for himself this year. Maybe he's wishing for a little bit more of that, but still some good signs from Callaway.
One thing, I guess, really quick before we go into the Joey Buckets interview is Ricky Wysocki, the final round. Obviously, Ricky's been on a tear lately, been playing absolute golf. Started out the round 3 down through 2 going into the final round, and then
eagle
only
on
ended up finishing 2 down, I think, to stay
Wow.
or drop down to 18th place. So I can't imagine
Oh wow, yeah,
kind of the
right.
frustration on a course like that where you start off really, really hot. He was probably, I think, 4 down through 5, or I think it was 4 down through 4, 4 down through 5, whatever it was. But then to ultimately only finish 2 down on the round, just the frustration that course can cause. A little bit of tree kicks, just enough out of position. A lot of players were saying they were dominating their forehand this weekend. Ricky, Marweed were saying they throw 13 or 14 out of 18 drives
Love
with the
to hear it.
forehand. So,
Just personally,
it's got to be out there. So, anyways, we'll take it over. I hear Joey Buckets in the background, and Ben, you have the lead on this one. Means bring him in.
Yes, sir. Let me just gotta do a few things.
Gotta work that Kenny magic.
Yep. Okay. Joey, are you ready? Okay. Welcome. Joey Buckets. How we doing?
Good.
So normally when I used to do a thing where anyone who we would interview, I'd buy their team series from the tour series from the local shop. But fun story, I met you out in Dallas and I bought this team series or tour series, whatever you want to call it, right off of your hands in person. So there you go. I just wanted to show that off. But Joey, talk to us. How you feeling?
I mean, I don't know. It still hasn't hit fully yet. I mean, I've come to terms with it, but it's crazy. It's life-changing for sure.
Yeah. So let's just talk about kind of the event itself. Coming into this event, I know, the past 2 events you missed the cut. Let's just tell it like it is. What was your mindset kind of coming into Idlewild, knowing this is probably a course that I'd say suits your game maybe a little more?
Yeah, I think I was talking with my manager, and those last 2 events, I was very, I was just very stressed out and just not mentally checked in, and just kind of spiraled a little bit mentally more so than physically, or I was practicing fine and everything, and then when the tournament came along, I just got overwhelming. So I just tried to enjoy the tournament and enjoy playing disc golf and watching everyone just throw and be good at disc golf.
Was there a certain mindset that you had coming in to the LWS Open? Did you have something to prove, or was it just same old, same old? Just
I think it was same old. I practiced a lot. I had a lot of practice rounds in. I think I played like 2 practice rounds every day. So physically I was like ready to go. And I mean, I'm only 20, so my body wasn't that tired or fatigued. So yeah, it was amazing.
so let's talk about after the first round. You know, you shoot a 9 down. I believe you made it to lead card, correct? And
Yeah.
at that point, how were you feeling? Did you think like, okay, like I could actually win this, or was it still just kind of just doing the same game in prepping? Just talk to us about that lead card appearance.
Yeah. So when I got on lead card for the second round, I had already had a good bit of lead card experience this year. And so, I mean, I was definitely a little nervous beforehand, but hole 1 is a pretty open hole to just kind of feel things out and feel how you're feeling, during the round. And so I felt fine. I was really calm, and yeah, I just stuck to my game plan. I wasn't really thinking about winning
Mm-hmm.
until honestly the last like 4 or 5 holes around when I actually got the outright lead, I think.
Yeah, so let's talk about those kind of final holes. Because at hole 12, I believe Isaac was 2 ahead of you going into 13. And he then on hole 13 triple bogeys and you birdie. Talk to us about that 4-stroke swing, kind of the feeling behind it, and how were you feeling before the hole and after?
Um, I remember before I was calm the whole time, but I definitely felt like something. I mean, I knew it changed, and I didn't realize he actually went OB the second time. So I knew he was OB off the tee, but then that second shot, I didn't realize he was OB until we got up there around the corner. And then he missed his upshot from there, and I was like, okay, so he's taking a triple, a 7, and I had a birdie putt. And yeah, I think after that, I did check scores, and I talked to my caddy, and I was like, I think I'm like leading by whatever, I think 2 or something at that point. And my caddy is my like best friend from back home. He was just like, you happen to be playing the best right now, and we'll see in a few holes, just keep playing.
So talk to us how once that mindset shifts, like, okay, crap, like I actually have a chance to win this. You had some absolute killers on your heels. Talk to us how you kind of stayed in the moment and just played your game to eventually eke out the win.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that mindset before I even started the tournament of just enjoying the disc golf. And I remember I was first on the tee on hole 14, and I told myself that, so round 2 on hole 14, I think I missed that gap and took a bogey on that hole. And so that final round, I was like, you don't have to. I was trying to throw it too hard the second round. So that final round yesterday, I just told myself to just smooth it and just hit the gap and see where it goes. And yeah.
And then when Calvin Eagles and you par basically making it close. At that point, were you starting to, and Ezra was ahead of you kind of playing well. Did you start feeling any pressure at that point?
I mean, there was pressure the whole time, I would say, but yeah, I'm not sure if I would say pressure was building at that point, but it was almost like I felt it slipping a little bit on hole 16 especially after I threw my second shot and it kind of turned over, and there was a long wait for that green flag, and it was super close to the OB. But then going into 17, I still knew I was up 1, and I can still, just play match play and stick to my game plan.
Yeah, and congratulate on 17. You know, it seems like an easy hole on coverage, but that hole can definitely bite you. And you played to your game plan and you hit definitely a considerable putt. Obviously, you're in the circle, but still to hold on to an Elite Series win and hit that putt, that was obviously a huge putt. Let's just get right into the hole 18. You throw a perfect shot. Basically, I'd say in your standards, like you just had to get it down there. What was the mindset behind your upshot? Were you trying to run it, trying to birdie, or was this just like a bad accidental par play, or were you actually trying to go for it?
Um, I just wasn't gonna. I wasn't gonna let myself I wanted it to be so easy on myself. So that second shot, I just stuck to my normal play as if I was just playing round one or playing a practice round. What would my shot be? And that patent pending backhand, I couldn't miss the gap, and I felt like the only thing I would do bad is throw it down into the hill, and then have a bad an upshot where I had to execute. And so I said, just miss a little bit high, and if you hit the trees, you can putt layup for your par and win. And so I threw it just barely too high, and yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that would have been just an insane. I remember I was watching it live, obviously rooting for you. And I thought it was in the whole way until the last second. So tell us again. I know you said it earlier, but kind of just elaborate more on how much this Elite Series win means to you. I know we saw you kind of climbing the ranks this year. You can't kind of seemingly came out of nowhere to becoming a legit contender and finally pulling out the win. Just let us know what it means and the significance.
Yeah. I mean, during that final round, I, it almost, it felt so just inexplainable. Like the last 5 holes, it felt like I was just experiencing it. And then right when I stepped up to my lie to throw each shot, I was still just, I had switched worlds, and then I was back to oh, I'm in the final round, about to win maybe. And I mean, it's just incredible. It means the world, especially doing it at Idlewild too. I love that place, and that was the first Pro Tour event I ever played 2 years ago. And it means a lot too that my caddy Nate was there, my best friend pretty much, and he was there every year, so he's been with me every time.
Oh wow, that's actually awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's so cool from back then till now winning. That's awesome. Shout out Nate. Nick, I have a few just unrelated event questions. Do you have any related to the event that you want to ask Joey?
Yeah, I got a couple
Go ahead.
small ones. One of the most simple questions is $12,500 is getting PayPal to you or already has been PayPal to you. What is kind of your little splurge of spending money? Like, what's something? Is it a hobby? What are you spending a little bit of that chunk of change on?
I think today I actually went and got some AirPod Pros because I don't have any headphones. I don't really use headphones that much, but actually Ezra Robinson, right before round two, he's like, "Hey, try these on," and he turned the noise canceling on, and it just blew my mind. And so I was like, "Okay, I gotta get these."
Gotta get these. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. I would say just you've kind of walked us through the final round. Walk us through a little bit about the practice routine. You said you were playing 2 rounds a day. That's something, one of the things that I had noticed is when we were hosting the chess.com event, you and Braden Sides were some of the first people to come out and play the Olympus track. And you guys were playing 1 to 2 rounds a day, which was pretty wild. A lot of elevation there. I mean, probably very, very similar to Idlewild when it comes to the walking. And you guys, it's obviously much hotter this weekend. But talk to us a little bit more about your practice routine. Are you playing any scored rounds, or are you just throwing shots until they feel good?
Yeah, so I actually got in Sunday evening because I missed the cut at Ledgestone. And I played a quick round with Braden before he left because he was in a wedding actually this last weekend,
Gotcha.
so he didn't play Idlewild. And then I think I might have played it from then on. And maybe the first three were just kind of figuring out my shots, gaining a little bit of confidence, and then the rest of them were pretty much one shot, scored rounds only, and just practicing my routine as if it was like a tournament. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was my practice routine.
Definitely. And then kind of talking about just throughout the year with all the travel, you're living the RV life. How has that been going? And you're checking off something huge on everyone's list, which would be winning an Elite Series event, kind of at the perfect timing. We got the the World Championships are coming up. I mean, is this kind of a huge confidence boost going over to the New London and Ivy Hills track?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't played either of those courses, but it's definitely a confidence boost winning. But I think I learned a lot more mentally this last week, physically, and that's just take a step back, enjoy disc golf, and just be present in the moment more than all the background noise and all the mental just annoyance going on of
Yeah.
whether you're good or just the pressure.
Yep. One final question on my side is last round. Pressure's at its most. You're pushing for the win in this one. You have multiple people around you that are playing well, whether they're on your card or off your card. But one of the things that you did insanely well was putting that final round. I think they had said you were like 11 for 11 in C1X. A lot of players will talk about pressure. They'll talk about the adrenaline that's going, their hands get shaky. Talk to us when you're in that moment, and this is kind of for all skill levels, is how are you overcoming being able to drain that 25-footer on hole 17, just dead center, all those different things? Like where does that confidence come from for you?
A lot of repetition, a lot of practice. I think that goes back to the practice routine like I was talking about, and just like playing a tournament scoring round and acting as if it was the tournament, and you throw your one shot and you get up there and you mark your lie or you do your routine. Like everyone has their own routine. Just do your routine and practice. I mean, practice how you play. That's a big part of it. And then, just time. Can't really cheat time.
Did you feel like you had any more kind of mental noise on some of those putts that final round, whether it be the last 4 holes or even the last 18 holes in general?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, I was in like a whole different mode of concentration and there was almost less noise, honestly.
We got to come up with a mode for you. We got McBeast mode out there. Do we call it bucket mode? Someone come up with a cooler frame than bucket mode, but like a cooler saying. But all right, actually, one final question is one of the things that I've always loved about Idlewild is your first shot on 18 is a very, very tight wooded shot. Your second shot is a little bit more open going into the green. But one of the really cool things is as you guys are walking out, you have the whole crowd kind of surrounding 18's green. And as you guys are stepping up to your lies, you just start hearing the cheering. What was that moment like, knowing you just hit the basket on your upshot? Obviously, you're tapping in for birdie, you're tapping in for the win, and now you got the whole crowd cheering for you. Is it like, what was your feeling? Just a huge weight off the shoulder, or like, holy crap, I finally did this? How were you feeling walking up to that final shot?
Man, that's a tough one. I feel like that. Yeah. Again, that whole final round, that stretch at the end there, I was in like a whole different world. And even when I was doing my interview with Nate Perkins after, I was able to talk about it, but it just still felt so unreal or surreal in a way.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it was just so indescribable. I mean, so much love, so much support from everyone there. Love that place.
Gotcha. When do you get to Lynchburg, Virginia?
Probably tomorrow.
Nice. Very good. All right, Ben, I'll send it back over to you.
Sweet. So a lot of times when these or pros win an Elite Series, they say, okay, I got the monkey out the back, and then they start winning some, but they start winning a lot more. How do you feel this way? Is there truth to this matter that you feel like, okay, like I've done it, I've accomplished it, I've won, now I can do anything?
A little bit. I'm not thinking too much or pondering about like future events really. But there is something to be said about that winning is something special. Again, I was talking to my caddy after, and we were still just so in shock about it. And he was like, I hear people talk about now he knows what it takes to win, or they know what it takes to win.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what is that? And is that even a thing? And I was like, it's definitely a thing because I felt it twice now. One time at Myrtle Beach Open. A tier and I went in a playoff at the end of last year with my good buddy Braden, now touring partner, and I felt it then, and this time I felt it even on another level, obviously because it is another level, and it's indescribable, but you know it when you feel it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's why I keep asking these questions about kind of your thoughts, because it's a feeling that not many people will ever accomplish or get. So I think it's kind of cool us fans kind of getting to peer into your mind of someone who I guess just came up in basically in one season, made a splash and then won. It's like it's been a really cool thing to witness. And I know like last year you had the Kansas City wide open and went off, and you finished well, but this year you're definitely more on people's radars. I'm gonna ask you about like your sponsorship with Castaplast. Let's see. Someone had a question. Oh yeah, how long have you been with Castaplast, and how did that relationship sort of happen? Were you shop around for multiple manufacturers, or did they reach out to you? And at what point did this happen? What significant moment in your career was the reason you got sponsored?
Yeah, I think it was after 2021, and I really just reached out to them because they were a smaller company and I was not really a name at that point, and I just reached out to them and they got back to me pretty quick and it just took off. No.
It said OBS.
Everything good now? All of a sudden the
No.
stream just
Okay.
went.
Yeah. All right, everyone, we're back. That was weird. Something happened, but we should be good back in the streaming department. Let us know what you last heard. But Joey said Castaplast is great. When is your contract up, and is there any plans to kind of stick with Castaplast, or are you gonna shop around? Just tell us more about kind of that now that you're an Elite Series winner.
Yeah, so at the beginning of this year I actually signed a 2-year deal with them. So I'm with them through next year. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
They show me. Yeah.
So I guess I have one more question, and then Nick, if you have any more. But at what point in your career were you like, okay, maybe I can make disc golf happen on the pro tour scene? You know, was there a specific moment where you were finishing well at local courses, or what was that kind of? Or was this your plan ever since you started disc golf? Like, I'm going to be a pro. What was that? When and what was that switch like to be like, okay, I can maybe make it on the pro tour and let me try it out?
Man. Might be at the end of 2021. I played the NADGT finale. That was in Austin, I think, and I took third place, and that was like when I went pro. And then, yeah, the next year right after that in 2022, Idlewild was my first disc golf pro tour event, and I took 25th place, and I felt like I wasn't even putting my everything into it. You know, I was just kind of playing and having fun with it. And yeah, I took 25th place, played fairly decent for my first tour event, and I guess
That's
that was
insane.
the real point. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Nick, if you got anything else.
No, I think he's pretty much answered everything.
Yeah. I wanted to give people the comprehensive Joey Buckets get to know you interview. So
Are we gonna see some like Joey Bucket hats for sale?
Come on, yeah, we got to get the bucket hats going.
The buckets, yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been trying. Me and my manager both earlier this year. We've tried 2 different times with different companies, and they just haven't come out the way we wanted. So we're just kind of looking for a specific kind of style, because I'm picky with my bucket hats, man.
Yeah, gotta be. All right, how can your fans support you, or how can our new fans support you on tour?
Yeah, so my tour series is actually out, K1 Hard Loots. It's a nice 9-speed, has a little bit of stability, lots of glide. You can get those at Cast Blast. Yeah, those are last year's ones. Those are nice, the Joey B's. And then this year they have like a space stamp that actually my caddy made. He designed.
Nice.
And then also putters on there. I have like signature bucket machine putters. Those are also sick. Or you can pick up a pure bag and use my discount code. It's just my name, all lowercase, Joseph.
Very cool. Alrighty. Well, best of luck at the World Championships. We're going to have a big show next week, just kind of talking, previewing everything and anything, listing off players who we think are trending in the right direction. And I would say winning the LWS Open definitely, has you trending in the right direction. So best of luck, safe travels, and we'll see you sometime soon, I'm sure.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Ben.
No problem.
Thanks, Nick.
Of course. Thanks for joining. Joey Buckets.
Peace.
Adios.
All right. We have Evan. Evan is with us.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, Ben, we need that Will Schrustrick music as we're saluting Joey Buckets off the screen.
That's at Matt's studio. For anyone, obviously, we're just to reiterate for any newcomers, we're at my studio, so it's not like the fully produced Matt Graham how he does. It's at my studio, so I have to like kind of do my own thing, and that's why it might look a little different. But hey, we want to bring you the content every week, and this is what it takes.
Yeah. You got the nice
Matt,
red color this week, Ben, so I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I want to say
it.
I also want to say one thing about the interview. Stuff from Joseph Anderson, Mr. Joey Buckets.
Isn't that one of their discs a lot?
But that's what I wanted to ask about. It's the Loots.
Yeah, but it's
pretty
spelled
sure it is.
LOTS.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I had no clue it was pronounced that way. Although I was just talking about that recently with people, and I was like, I honestly thought it was lots. I figured maybe it was pronounced differently, but I did not have Loots on
Like
my
bingo card.
Bingo card for pronunciations.
They have an understable mid-range that's actually hella glidey called,
Sve?
everyone calls it the Sve, but I think it's called the Svea, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I call it Sve.
Yeah.
I feel like I've known it
Svea,
as the Svea, but I could be
everyone-
right about some things. I could be very wrong about some things as well.
Exactly.
So.
That's just our American nature. Anyways, for everyone who is still here with us, one of the coolest things we have going on is stuff to do with the MVP Open. So if you take a few seconds and check it out. But for everyone out there, what is one of the biggest problems with the MVP Open presented by OTB Discs is that it only happens once a year. The stumps in the fairway can definitely make it fluky. The parking has been an issue in years past. Well, parking is the right answer, but just so you know, they've had an excavator out on the course for the last month or so, working on all the stumps and then also working on parking solutions. Steve Dodge, who is the tournament director of that tournament, has been for a large number of years, has also confirmed that they will have one and only one off-site parking area that will take up to 400 cars. They've got 3 times the amount of shuttles this year, and it is also conveniently located at the Leicester Walmart. And if you've ever been to that area, the Leicester Walmart is probably, I would say, a 7 to 8 minute shuttle ride to the course in and of itself. So 3 times the shuttle. If you've ever been to that event, you know how it's been in years. But this is a great solution that they have done. With it being at Walmart as well, you can run in, get some sunscreen, get some lawn chairs, whatever, hang out, and then go to the shuttle and head on over to the course. Absolutely wild. They have been doing incredible things to help everyone out. They hear the feedback that is coming to the event, and they're trying to make it bigger and better every single year. So shout out to the MVP Open presented by OTB Discs. And one of the things next week that we are going to announce is how to win the insider pass that we have for our giveaway. So tune in next week, especially next week, to learn how to get this incredibly valuable asset to go watch the OTB Open at Maple Hill the MVP Open presented by OTB at Maple Hill at no cost to you. You'll get a chance to actually win this prize. We did this last year. The people had an absolutely incredible time who won it. So we wanted to do it again this year for you guys. So like I said, tune in next week. Matt will have more answers on the ways to actually win this insider pass. So anyways, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to be back up there this year, hanging out at my parents' house, checking out the MVP Open. It's an exciting event that every single year that goes to Leicester, Massachusetts, and we get to see the infamous Maple Hill, which just added for the first time ever a par 5 onto the property. So I'm really curious to see how that's played. Ben or Evan, you guys are obviously still somewhat local to Maple Hill. Have either of you guys played the new par 5?
So I have not played the par 5. It's still not done. It's
Still raw. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still raw. There's still a bunch of trees covering it. Unless that's what it's going to be, which I wouldn't be surprised because, sometimes that's just the Maple Hill way, where it's just like they just leave some trees there. But yeah, I haven't been able to finish or play it. But the par 4 in itself I've played that, and that is just, it's a little insane. But I think here's my hot take, maybe not. I think the par 5 is going to play easier than the par 4. Just because, I feel like as a normal person, you need one more shot to really get down there. And then if you get down there, you can attack the par 5 from anywhere. You just got to hit a certain gap, and it's not that bad.
Yeah, I haven't played the par 5. As Ben was saying, I haven't even played that par 4 that will get extended to the par 5. It looks a little too hard for me, if I'm gonna be honest. But I'd still love to play it. I'd love to play it in a very casual round where I do not care about anything.
Exactly.
But I at least know what the general idea for the par 5 is going to be. And I mean, for the people who can picture it, this is hole 9 at Maple Hill. So you have the over the pond iconic 8. Hole 9 has seen a little bit of changes. I think I forget if FPO has moved. Diamond's layout has moved as well, but the gold tee pad got pushed way in the woods, and it's like an uphill, narrow wood shot. But then it goes to that same kind of island. It's a very short OB little creek that separates it, but it's that built
It's like
up
a peninsula,
landscaped kind of peninsula. Yeah, more of a peninsula. Maybe feels like an island, but it is truly a peninsula. But it's that built up green. Now, if you can picture that approach is way more downhill in person than you think. You want to keep on going past it where there's a pond there, and so you're almost having another pond shot. Well, I guess not another. It's the first one for this hole, but it's the same pond as hole 14 that you throw over, just a different part of it. And so that will come into play. Then it'll kind of go up a hill into the woods. I forget how far it goes up there, but it does push back in there. So it'll be really interesting. And I believe also it's a B position. I believe that is what is happening. And so it's not a par 5 all 4 days.
No,
It will be a
they're
par
doing
5
moving day.
2 of the 4 days or 1 of the 4 days. Which, you know what, like. I think it's really cool. I mean, there's
100%.
all sorts of importance to a B pin. It can be slightly different just to make it a harder putt and a similar hole. And then there's the really changing it up to make it play totally different. So I'm really interested to see players' mindsets if like their first shot is changed, because you could see how their first shot is just go to the same spot, and then the second shot is maybe where it changed, or the third shot is what it is. But maybe it's one of those things where it changes the mindset of, you have another stroke. So you maybe go shorter, safer when it's the par 5, or you attack it more. That would love to get into the insight of what they feel about it.
I love A positions and B positions for tournament. It's something that I've definitely talked with Paul about, extending some of over at my course, Olympus, we wouldn't be able to do it to every single hole, but I definitely think a couple of the holes should definitely have different pin locations. I just think it's really, really fun. I think it adds a little bit of variety to the tournament. One of the things that we can kind of look at is, and I wasn't on for the episode after Ledgestone, so I didn't really get to give any of my thoughts with anything, but Eureka Temp course is not the most enjoyable course for me to watch coverage on, especially 4 rounds in a row. It's kind of like we're kind of very, very blessed to have Northwood's course. Obviously, it wasn't used this year due to Champions Cup, but for the most part, Eureka is not the most enjoyable course. But I think adding different pin positions in a layout and a B layout, I think could be really cool if that's something that they do in the future. Let's just hope that they can use Northwood's though, because I think it definitely adds a little bit with it. But just kind of off topic really quick before Evan brings us into the next segment is originally I was actually supposed to be running a C tier this past weekend, and it'll actually be my first tournament that I've ever tournament directed. But because of the tropical storm that we just recently had, a lot of holes were flooded, a lot of tree damage that I had to go in and clean up. So we ended up postponing the tournament, but it gave me a weekend free. And so I did it on out to Jacksonville. Hannah and Paul were in town with baby Pablo. And so I was able to play the Jacksonville Open qualifier event. It was a 1-round flex start C tier. I played on the same card as Hannah, and I shot like a 935 rated round. I haven't played disc golf since May, I don't think. I don't really get to play that much right now. I shot a very, very low rated round, but I had the most fun I've had in a while. I wasn't frustrated with bad shots because I know bad shots were bound to happen. I mean, I was playing a practice round the day before with Paul, and forehands were sore on the shoulder. I was getting okay distance, not nearly like I've never been a distance player, but I was definitely throwing shorter than I was before. And if you guys know me, that's not a good thing whatsoever, especially on more of an open park style course. But I had an absolute blast playing. It definitely brought back memories of competing, feeling, circle two putts, when you make one of them, it's like, oh man, that was a damn good feeling. And so kind of brought a little bit of spark back into it. It's just been so hot at the end of a workday to go out that I haven't really played that much. But needless to say, I shot like 70 points, 60 points below my rating or whatever it was. Still had a wicked fun time. Glad to still be in this sport. I don't get to play as much as I used to, but it's definitely really fun. But we got to celebrate Pablo's 10-month, being 10 months, you're 10 months old. You don't really, like, it's not a birthday or anything like that. But it was pretty cool to hang out with him and enjoy watching coverage. Paul and I would hang out, watch coverage. All in all, enjoyable weekend. So, complete side note. But anyways, Evan, I'm going to bring it over to you. I know you have some stuff coming up for us.
I'm going to string along that topic for just a little bit longer, because when you were first saying it and you're like, oh, I threw a 935 round, you don't want to know what my first instinct was? Like, oh, wow, nice job, Nick. Because like to me, 935, like that's pretty good. Like I've only shot, a handful above 935. So congrats there. But yeah, you can talk about it as a bad round, I guess. Make me feel less good. I also, I don't need to spend too long on this, but we'll at least note it out just for fun to give people some personal side of this. Ben and I both played a tournament, tea time tournament. We did not see each other a single time.
I didn't know you were playing.
I didn't know Ben was playing. I feel like I told Ben, hey, you should sign up for this. And I think he said maybe or something. I don't know. And he did. I didn't know that. And then I'm looking at the leaderboards. I was like, oh, let me see how MA1 did. Oh, Ben Kenny. Nice job making, I think, lead card.
Lead card.
Top 5. Yeah.
Where was it?
For the first round.
Westy. Shout out Westy Acres.
So, I'm texting Ben about it. And I'm just like, oh, hey, you're playing this tournament? Like, no way. And then we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, like this one hole, like, did this, and this. And it took Ben, I'm not throwing you under the bus here, Ben. I just think it's funny.
No, it's fine.
Ben had no clue I was playing either, and he thought I was just talking about me playing that course at a random other time. He's like, oh, what, you're playing too? And then we both played the next day and still didn't see each other.
Yeah. But, my buddy Ruminos, he was like, oh, let's see how Evan Kearns did. I'm like, wait, what? Or no, he was just looking at MA2 and he's like, oh, Evan Kearns. I was like, wait, what? And then that's when I text you like, oh, because I was so confused why you mentioned the whole par 5, like what you shot on the par 5. I was like, I wonder when he shot it. Was this like months ago? But yeah, so I didn't realize you were playing it until like maybe 3 hours after you texted me. But yeah, I made lead card and then
You still shot fine.
Yeah,
Not
second round. Good. Yeah. So here's the thing. I did the Ricky. I was 3 down through 4 holes, I believe. Yeah, 3 down through 4 holes. I had an eagle birdie, and then I didn't birdie again once after that. And it's because my putt. I lost the putt. The first round I shot 6 down. I hit pretty much everything. I probably missed 1 or 2 inside the circle, but I hit a lot of C2. This one I think I missed like 6 inside the circle. It's just because classic got in my head, didn't do what worked. So
hey,
I
can feel that.
Really quick, just because Massachusetts disc golf is pretty awesome. We have no affiliation with this whatsoever, but Simon Lizotte and Casey White designed a course out in East Brookfield, Massachusetts. They've vlogged about it. They've posted about it. Is it marker 67?
63, yeah. Mile
And
marker
I know
63.
this, all the love to hear, but the logo is like 6 basket 3. I'm from New Hampshire. That's our area code. I thought this was mile marker 603 for a long time and thought it was in New Hampshire. Just my own
Gotcha.
not looking into it and just
603.
assuming things. But yeah, mile marker 63, I believe, is what it is.
Gotcha. Well, for any Massachusetts or New England disc golfers that somehow, some way have not seen Simon and Casey post about it, I think this Saturday, the 17th, they've opened up tee times for a public play day. So go check that out.
It's the grand opening.
I'm super bummed. I won't be able to attend that.
Me too. I'm bummed.
That would be something that would be really fun. So shout out to them too. It's really cool. We've talked to Paul a lot. We've talked to Paul Macbeth's Foundation. We've talked to John Houck way back in the past. If you look at early Nick and Matt show days, John Houck was actually one of our first interviewed guests on the show. We've talked to Avery Jenkins a number of times, Simon Lizotte. So a lot of people that have done course design, people who are giving back into the disc golf community. It's really cool to see Casey and Simon kind of put their stamp in the Massachusetts disc golf rather than being incredible players, but also, kind of philanthropists, and giving back to the community in that way. So I'm excited for next time that I have a little bit of extended time up in Massachusetts to go check out that property. But yeah, once again, shout out to them. It's really cool to see people doing things.
I can vouch because I played that property actually, the back nine at least, with Simon, and so I've been there a bunch of times just through like before when he was designing it, and then the kind of when it was like rough, and then when it was pretty much finished, maybe like a few things weren't, and it's easily gonna be, I'd comfortably say it's gonna be a top 5 course in Massachusetts for a lot of people. It's just beautiful. It's like playing disc golf in a meadow, and a lot of the shots are awesome. Like it's gonna be right up Evan's alley of just kind of, it's more catered towards like, I guess,
It's a fun layout.
Yeah, it's a fun layout, amateur.
Let's go. I like fun.
Evan's pretty critical. We'll have to get Evan out there.
We'll have to get Evan out there.
3-star review.
Yeah, but I played the back nine when it was pretty much only one basket wasn't in, and it's just the owners are awesome. The manager is awesome, who's the owner's daughter. She's awesome, and it's going to be a huge community boost out here in Central Mass, and I'm very excited for everyone to go check it out, because I think it's like a ball golf course, but it doesn't feel like it is, if that makes sense. It's an old 9-hole, but none of the shots are like, and there's a lot of cool signature shots that I think everyone will enjoy. And it's right next to bogey lanes too, so you can go play disc golf and then mini golf right after.
There you go.
Nice.
That's where we do it. Love mini golf.
I mean, a lot of people like Simon and agree with the things he says. I definitely agree with Simon's thoughts on courses. Simon's all about fun. So I actually I don't think I've ever played a Simon designed course. I know he's gotten a few under his belts. But if designed it and Simon likes it, that's usually a good sign for me. I like throwing fun shots. I'm not nearly as skilled as him. But I feel like what Simon truly enjoys playing, on his own time outside of the rigorous grind of Pro Tour courses. I feel like we might agree on that. So cool news. Let's bring it into our look ahead at Worlds. We got the PDGA Pro Worlds coming next week. We'll have a show next week as well, where we'll do a little bit of a more standard preview. What we kind of wanted to do is check out a few players and kind of do a trending up or trending down feeling about them in Worlds history, at the major history, and then also just in of course recent history, how they're doing as of late. So let's start off with the 2 reigning champions. We have Kristen Tatar and Isaac Robinson. This is a little bit more just general on those 2 players. So Nick, looking at Kristen Tatar, how do you feel in trending into this event?
I mean, the last event, also really quick, actually, shout out Kristen Tatar and Silver Lot. They tied the knot this past weekend. They have some beautiful pictures up on
Bars.
their Instagrams. Really, really cool to see. Congratulations to them. I personally know them. They're two incredible people. They're very fun to hang out with. Very, very polite people. They've stayed at my parents' house numerous times up in Massachusetts for the MVP Open. So shout out to them. Incredible people. And more so, incredible disc golf. Kristen Tatar being what I would say is the best female player on the planet right now. Not a great tournament out in Estonia, coming off of the European Open major win. But at the same time, I think she's such a dominant player. This is over 5 rounds at 2. I don't know the Ivy Hills layout for the FPO, but the new London layout, it's an absolute dog of a course. I think she has the distance and the sidearm and backhand that she needs out at that property. She's my pick to take it down. I made a joke with Paul this past weekend that I would be surprised if she doesn't win the tournament by 5 strokes or more. So I think she's trending upwards.
With a victory of less than 4. Ben, what about you?
For Kristen specifically?
Yeah, let's start with Kristen, and then we'll
Okay.
make time for Isaac Robinson.
Yeah, well, everyone knows I'm not a gambling man, but I have a $20 bet with
As you have a couple bets with us.
with Matt that Kristen is going to win, and I just have a good feeling. I mean, she just got married. I know that's definitely going to just be a emotional kind of boost. You know, the endorphins are going. She got married, but her game's solid. She's been resting, I imagine, and playing a few events and just getting dialed in. So I am very confident that she's going to take it down because I think, it just seems like it's been bubbling up, and it seems like she's going to come back and boom, world title.
All right, sticking with you, Ben. How do you feel about Isaac Robinson? How is he trending? Of course, was near a win last week,
Dude, I wanted him to win.
yesterday. But we'll let you expand more on that. Isaac Robinson.
Yeah, so I picked Isaac to win Idlewild or LWS Open. That's why I wanted to win, but obviously Joey's my buddy, so I'm glad he won too. But I don't know. I think he's going to do well. I think it's a course that caters to him, especially with New London Tech being so technical. He's like a woods philanthropist. That's
I love it.
He's a woods philanthropist, or therapist. And I think it's going to play well to his game. I'm not too sure how the Ivy Hill course is looking. I know there's a few coverage out there, maybe like college disc golf or something. But I think he'll do well, and I think he'll be a contender. However, I feel more secure in picking, like, it's going to sound crazy, but it's not like a Paul Macbeth. I feel like, I'd rather put my money on Paul than Isaac, just based on the fact, it's basically his course that he helped design, and that he's absolutely shredded on these Battle for Bedfords and beat people by like 10 strokes while they're barely struggling to stay under par, and he's like 10 down, something like that. So I think he has a good shot to win, but is he going to win? I think I have a few other people ahead of him, but I'd say he's probably like 4th or 5th on my list of who could win.
All right, well, we'll talk about Paul Macbeth more. Nick, thoughts on Isaac Robinson?
Let's see. Last weekend was kind of the Isaac Robinson that we've seen in the past, minus the really bad 3-hole stretch that he had towards the end of the LWS Open. Definitely someone on these courses that could very well be in contention. He's a 2-time major winner. He's someone that has won the World Championships before, which not a lot of people can say. So the World Championships brings out that dog, and a lot of people, there's a lot of pressure to it. This is the tournament. This is the number 1 tournament of the year. This is the one that everyone wants to win. This puts your stamp on disc golf history as being a world champion more than any other tournament does. And I think a lot of pros would agree with the same thing. So Isaac, I definitely, trending wise, I think this was a good weekend for him to have. I think with some time off in between, but practicing a lot and getting used to the courses, I think this would be a tournament that he should do very well at. I don't have him winning the tournament this year, but he's definitely trending in the right direction.
Yep. Great words. I'll also add, I mean, think about where Isaac Robinson won last year at Smuggler's Notch on both
Yeah.
Fox Run and Brewster Ridge. You got the Woods, you got the Open, but with, Fox Run is not a golf course, but as far as, open airspace,
open
OB, it's kind of a similar disc golf style. So from what I've heard, hills is elevation you're contending with. And I'm going to guess that there's going to be OB to decide where the landing zones are in addition to the elevation. And, not that Fox Run has crazy elevation, but it definitely is a factor in it. So
I've played Ivy Hills, the golf course.
Oh, okay. Well, me and Ben here are
What's that?
blind trying to guess what it's going to be like.
No, he played the
but,
golf course.
I
give us the
played
quick
Ivy
version
Hills,
of
the
it.
golf course, and enjoyed it a ton, but elevation is like an understatement. I don't even know how you can say, like, it's like the first time I ever went to toboggan. The camera does not do it justice. I think Ivy Hill is going to appear the same way this year on coverage. But anyways, besides the point, keep it going, Evan.
Okay. All right. Well, we wanted to highlight the two reigning champions and really give them the extra space to talk about them. Now we're going to go into groups of 3 players. I'm going to kind of intro it with a little bit of stats, and then want you and Ben just to highlight one of those 3 players and say how you think they're trending, whether it's up, down, or maybe treading water trending.
Yeah.
But feel free to at least quickly mention the other 2 if you like, but we'll do rapid fire on the other 2, really focus on one just to keep this moving along. So we'll start off with Missy Gannon, who finished second at PDGA Pro Worlds last year and has one major win, which was U.S. Women's earlier this year. Ohn Scoggins, who DNF'd at PDGA Pro Worlds last year, finished second at PDGA Champions Cup earlier this year and has numerous major titles in the Masters division. And then Holland Hanley, who's finished back-to-back on the podium at Worlds and then looking for her first major win. Of course, she has her first 2 Elite Series wins this year and then one Throw Pink last year. So out of those 3 players, who do you want to highlight and who do you think's trending up or down that you really want to specify? Ben, let's go to you.
Can you just repeat those players?
Ben,
You're muted,
do we
Ben.
have you on mute?
That's what I thought. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh.
All right, Ben.
I'll take it from here.
You go for it.
Ben, you can cut
Go
in
to-
right after once you get everything all set.
Go to the-
Out of those 3 players, Holland is just very, very dominant win over at Ledgestone. Played absolutely incredible. Averaged just about 1,000 rated for the event.
Can you hear me now?
These are going to be 2 courses that in the woods she's going to have to get that distance, but also the accuracy at the same time. So I think she has a good chance for this. I think she's trending upwards in this regards. Missy Gannon is definitely someone who has podiumed at Worlds before. I think if I wasn't picking Kristen Tatar, honestly, I think I would pick Missy Gannon to win Pro Worlds this year. And then Ohn Scoggins, I just feel like over the course of 5 rounds, Ohn talks about every single week. Did I lose you guys?
Nope. Looks
Okay.
like we're back.
Sorry. Stream just went weird for a second. Ohn Scoggins coming off of a great win. Don't get me wrong at LWS Open, but out of those 3, she's kind of my number 3 to pick in that category. But she's got the confidence right now.
Certainly. Ben, how are you doing? Is your microphone
Can you hear
back and
me?
on?
We can hear you.
We
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
You
repeat.
remember the question?
No,
okay.
you're gonna have to repeat.
That is all good. Ben, we appreciate you producing and answering
like slow
questions
now.
along with the rest of us who are just staring at a screen and not doing all that extra work. So Missy Gannon, Ohn Scoggins, and Holland Hanley. Who do you want to really focus on that's trending up, down, or in the middle?
For Worlds, I want. It's tough because Big Money Missy, she comes up clutch in a lot of situations, but Holland Hanley has finally kind of come into her own and actually has started winning as of late, which we all knew would happen. But I feel like Worlds is just a completely different beast when it comes to pressure. So I think I want to give the nod to Missy just because she's been there before. She's won some pretty significant events with that pressure. So I'm going to give the nod to Missy, and then second would be Holland, and then third would be Ohn. I think Ohn pops off at certain events, but she's always super consistent. But I think like these major events, there's always someone that kind of outdoes her.
All right. Switching over to some decorated MPO names. I mean, one new, the other two old, but also still kind of as of today. But let's get into it. Gannon Buhr, two-time MPO major champion, is looking for his first MPO Worlds title, but he does have 3 Junior Worlds titles, and now a 7-time Elite Series winner. Then, of course, Richard Wysocki, who's a 6-time MPO major winner, but his last major win was 2017 Worlds. And here's a little tidbit on that is Ricky won that in June of 2017. And the following month, Gannon Buhr would win Junior Worlds in MJ3, which was prior to the kind of age-based numbers.
Oh, I was about to say, man's was 3 years old.
No, so I forget exactly what the age span was in that, but they changed it the following year, I believe, and was when he was, I think, an MJ15 the following year. So I don't exactly know how old Gannon Buhr was, but won a Junior Worlds the month after Ricky won his last major title. And then Paul Macbeth, who's a 17-time MPO major winner, one away from Climo's record of 18, and he's a 6-time Worlds winner, although I would say likely not going to catch Climo, although, of course, still possible, who's sitting at 12 world championships. Nick, let's start with you again. Who do you want to mention of those trending up or down?
Trending-wise, Paul is trending in the right direction. He's had some of his best finishes over the last, I would say, 5 or 6 events that he's had throughout the year. He loves the European swing, always kind of rejuvenates him, and he's got the accolades from the World and majors in general that he knows when to step it up at the right moment. I mean, until last year, he was first or second place in 10 world championships in a row, 9 of them, maybe, whatever it was, excluding the COVID year. So I think he's definitely trending upwards. Gannon Buhr, I was just looking at his PDGA page. Gannon Buhr has not really had a bad event this year. His bad event, we can look at it, it's 13th place. After his 13th place finish, he goes on and wins the next event. After his 10th place finish at the European Disc Golf Festival, he goes on and wins the Ledgestone Insurance Open. He just got an 8th place finish over at the LWS Open. Knowing Gannon Buhr's history throughout this year, this could be an event that Gannon does win. But he hasn't won a World Championships before. I know he has said it before. This is the one tournament that he really, really wants to win. I think this would just absolutely put Gannon Buhr's name in one of the best players, especially kind of being the best player so far this year right now. So I don't know. It's tough. Trending wise, Gannon's doing incredible. He's having an absolutely phenomenal year. I mean, we're through, I would say, the final third of the year going into it now, and he's already at $106,000 in his PDG. Just absolutely insane how consistent he is playing this year. So, and then who was the third one actually? You said Paul,
Wysocki,
Gannon, and then Ricky. Ricky's funny when it comes to all this. Ricky has been playing disc golf for what feels like forever in our eyes, getting the back-to-back world championships back in 2016 and 2017, and then not getting a major since then. But he's been close. He podiumed at European Open this year. He's been very close to USDGC a number of times. He's so freaking good at disc golf, but for some reason right now, he's just not getting that major towards not the back half of his career, but as he is getting older as well. So I don't know. It's tough. He out of the trending players in that group, I think he's kind of third on my list. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And back to your Paul Macbeth, the stat is years of first or second at PDGA Pro Worlds. He's played Worlds 5 other times, has not finished in the top 10 besides those 10 straight in first or second, as he has yet to finish 3rd through 9th. So it's really all or
nothing.
I shouldn't say all or almost all, or and nothing being a 12th place finish. So I don't know if that's quite nothing either. Yeah. But then Wysocki, I want to mention this stat and then I'll throw it over to Ben. The amount of consistency he's had at majors since not winning is unreal. He has played 19 MPO majors, obviously all MPO since that win at 2017 Worlds. You want to guess what his worst finish is?
Probably 5th.
Okay, it's not that quite. Okay, it's not that good, but it's still 12. Very good as 12th. Yeah, he's finished 12th twice. Yeah, there you go. Worlds last year was one of those, along with European Open 2022. He has 2 other 11th place finishes, so 4 outside the top 10. and that makes out of 19 total events. So 15 top 10s, 4 outside top 10s, but 11th and 12th in his 19 events since his last win. So the quality has been there, just not quite at the win. But I've talked too much. Ben, over to you on Gannon Buhr, Richard Wysocki, and Paul McBeth.
Gannon Buhr, Richard Wysocki, or Paul McBeth. I've been I don't know. I've been liking Gannon's game. Obviously, I think he has a great chance to win. But if this course wasn't at New London, I think I would pick Gannon. But I still don't know who exactly I'm going to pick. But it's just really tough to say. I'd say Ricky's probably going to be my third, but it's just Paul. He turns it on. He turns it on for Worlds. He's won. What has it been every other year for like ever? Is that the stat? And this is the coming up is the every other year or something like that.
Wait, for McBeth?
Not for Worlds.
Oh.
No, that was Paige Pierce who's winning every other year for Worlds.
Okay, so I thought it was
if
Paul.
you got that mixed up, but no,
Paul's
he's
just won a lot of them. That's his stat.
Yeah, he's just won a lot.
He won 4 in a row, then didn't win 3 years in a row, then won, and then lost, and then won.
So
that's skipping COVID.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with Paul to win this event, just based purely on the fact that he shreds his course. I guess in the chat they're saying that they took a lot of OB away, which kind of doesn't make me feel as confident because.
Yeah, just to kind of briefly, and I haven't seen it, and I don't know the actual facts to it, but one of the biggest things at New London, especially for the first 6 holes, you could probably even say first 7 holes, is the right side of the way that the course is designed. The right side of the fairway is right next to conservation land, which in years past, whenever we played leagues or tournaments there, has been out of bounds. From what I've heard, holes 1 through 3 don't have the OB on the right side anymore. Now, that's pretty big because you turn your disc over a little bit or get a bad kick, you're going out of bounds. But I've always loved the teeth of that at that course. But the fairways, they're so big that, it does take a bad shot to land OB. But anyways, if someone actually does know the exact answer to that, please put it into the chat so we can talk about it. And maybe I'll get some information on it going into next week. But anyway, sorry, Ben, keep going.
Yeah. So, sorry, this has been a crazy. Things keep going wrong, but you guys are gonna be on screen and I'll talk. So yeah,
All right.
I think that I think I'm gonna give a slight nod to Paul, even though Gannon has been deadly, and like you said, his worst finish is 13th. But I think I'm gonna pick Paul to win as of right now. It might change. If I wasn't gonna pick Paul, I'd pick Gannon. So right now I'm gonna say 1 Paul, 2 Gannon, 3 or Ricky.
All right, love to hear it. Let's swing it over to the Europeans. We mentioned Kristen Tatar, the #1 woman in the world in disc golf. Evelina Salonen, and Hannah Blommers. Evelina Salonen is now a 2-time FPO major winner with her win at PDJ Champions Cup earlier this year. Silva Saarinen won her first 2 Elite Series events this year, but looking for that first major win. And then Hannah Blommers also looking for her first major win and first Elite Series win. She has 7 FPO major podiums, which is the most of all from FPO major podiums without a win. So we should see all 3 of those Europeans back. I haven't checked registration, but it's also Worlds, and you assume everyone's going to make the trip over. But those 3 players who we feel is trending up or down. Nick, let's start with you again.
Evelina Salonen has it right there. And I like, out of those 3 players, I'll keep this short and brief. She's like my, very, very close pick to winning Worlds. Obviously, I've got Kristen winning it. Missy Gannon and Evelina are both right there as players who could win it. If Kristen does have a bad weekend, like Evelina is so good at throwing the disc, just has to capitalize on the putting green. Literally, it's all I'm going to say about it.
All right, over to you, Ben.
It was Evelina.
Salonen. Yep. Salonen, Saarinen, and Blommers.
Okay. I'm gonna go Henna Blomroos. Josh from Overthrow says that she's a sneaky pick and could definitely win. It's a Hydra flip fest, and because I need her to win $20 from Matt once again, so I'm gonna give the nod to Henna Blomroos. I think she's due. She's been there a bunch of times, and she needs to capitalize it. And then honestly, I'd go second Silva. I think, she's dominated pretty much the European field and the FBO side, and was just putting lights out. So I think her kind of tactician of the woods will really come through at New London especially. And then third, I'd give it to Evelina. I know she can power for Ivy Hills, but I don't know about New London, how accurate she's going to be with that. That's just my opinion.
All right, you had it here first from Ben Kenny. All right, last official set of trio. We're gonna go to non-major winners and MPO who are fairly notable. We got Calvin Heimberg, who has 2 Elite Series wins this year with 11 in his career. He has 4 major top 5s over the past 2 seasons alone, but is looking for that first win. Anthony Abrella, who exploded onto the scene earlier this year with 4 Elite Series wins on 4 throughout his career, all 4 this year. He finished second at PDGA Pro Worlds last year, which I feel like might be forgettable, which is kind of crazy at that. But he was certainly playing hot last year. And then you obviously can't forget the European Open. He ultimately finished 7th, but was right there in the mix until hole 16. And then Simon Lizotte is taking some time off the tour, but we were talking about him earlier with his course design. 1 Elite Series win in 2024, 9 in his career. He finished 3rd at USDGC, which was also really sneaky, which was his best major finish since 2018. 3 of the 4 most Elite Series wins in MPO without an MPO major win right there. All playing fantastic, all fantastic players. But Nick, who do you feel like trending up?
Anthony Barolo is having such an incredible year that this is someone who definitely has a shot if he catches fire this weekend. He's obviously got all the skill set to win the World Championships. When it comes to players who I want to win Worlds, obviously
Not want, trending.
hold on.
Okay,
obviously I want to win Worlds. If he doesn't, my second favorite player to root for is Simon Lizotte. And I know I've watched Simon shred this New London track before. This is before it really is, in its full glory as it is now. But he went out there, pretty sure he actually had a better score than Paul Macbeth one of the first times that they had played it. And so I know he can do extremely well at these courses. So trending wise, it's tough. Like, I would put Anthony at the top of that list, Simon Lizotte second, and then Calvin Heimberg third. For some reason, there's just something. Calvin Heimberg with finishing tournaments, we don't always see it unless he is playing well all 5 rounds, 4 rounds, 3 rounds, depending on the event, obviously. But yeah, AB's having such a spectacular year that this could definitely just be another weekend where he shoots hot fire. Simon Lizotte has the great tournament over at Music City Open that he played incredible at. And like I said, he's someone who I would love to see Simon win a world championship. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, and you know what Simon says about the show is, Nick, if it wasn't for Ben, he would be rooting for you as his favorite host, but instead Ben's his favorite host. So you can be second favorite for him if he's your second favorite player.
Fine to be second favorite in Simon Lizotte's world.
Is that actually a thing?
No. I mean, I don't know.
I've never heard him say that in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly haven't. But we'll have to ask him. See, have him give his official rank and
of the host.
Like,
that's funny.
Name all of them, and he's like, "Who's Josh?" No, I'm just kidding. He certainly knows who Josh is. You're a fan of the show, but Ben, yeah, those 3 players.
Yeah, so I'd say I'd give it to Simon, just because he had a second kid. You know what happened when he had his first kid? He basically won 4 disc golf pro tour events right after, and obviously the real reason is, like Nick was saying, I think he's great in the woods, and I think he has the ability. It's just got to click for him that day, and I feel like every time he's played bad, he like dominates the next event. it just seems to be. And Evan, yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure maybe before his
Yeah. I'm gonna fact check you here.
Music City Open when he might have not played that well. Because
Very much incorrect. He finished 5th at Jonesboro.
Okay,
but he did finish 76th at Waco, a month before.
So yeah, maybe that was, but I just feel like he does bad and then he gets back on track. So I give it to him. I think he has a really solid chance because he can fillet the woods and he has the power needed for Ivy Hills. Second, I would give it to probably I'd say AB. Who? Oh, Calvin. Yeah. No, actually, I'd probably give it to Calvin. Honestly, I think Calvin has always been there. He's always consistent, and I think it's just he's just got to have it that day, or that weekend to kind of make it decent enough. But I think he has all the skill and potential. I'll go third, AB. I think AB has all the skill and potential, but it seems to me that some courses might fit him better than others, and he wins, and then he might finish like 8th, and then maybe like 30th or something like that. So I'm pretty sure he didn't even do that well in Idlewild. I think he got maybe like a 40 place finish around there. Fact check me. Anyways, so yeah, I'd say Calvin third, second AB, and then first Simon. He got it.
Barella finished 43rd in last cast position at
There we go.
at Idlewild. Simon Lizotte, he did have one notable bounce back win, and that was MVP Open 22. He finished 51st at GMC, missed cash. One MVP Open, and then went down to USDC and missed cash. So wild couple of weeks for Simon there. But otherwise, trend is usually a good finish or top 20 or so, and then goes on to win. So definitely not wrong, just not always the case. All right. Well, I want to throw out this one last fun little trio, and this is just for you, Ben. You can make it as short or long as you want, but this is it. We got Joey Buckets, Madison Walker, and Silas Schultz.
Oh no!
Who's trending up, Ben?
Oh no! Wait, but okay. So first, I'm gonna go Madison. Obviously, she's legendary and she's the best FPO player in the world in my eyes, and she's gonna take it down all day, every day. As for Silas or Joey, second and third, it's tough. I hung out with Joey in Texas, but Silas, he stayed over my house, and we went to escape rooms, and he stayed in my brother's room. So I'm gonna give the edge to Silas, just purely based that he stayed over my house for MVP and we had fun. No other reason than that.
Man, Mr. LWS champ getting slighted, but that was fun.
It's because, like I said, when you play an escape room with someone, instantly
immediate
you're lifelong
number
friends.
2. Yeah, after Madison Walker, of course.
Correct.
But speaking of that, Ben, I'm actually a little disappointed that you did not correct me earlier. We did the recap, and I forgot to mention that Madison Walker finished tied for 5th. So we can certainly talk about it more, because I feel like now is a good time to do our pop drop lock. Oh my goodness,
pop drop lock.
Thank you. A little recap. I know we don't have the music. I don't have the points in front of me. Is that one of you guys?
I got you.
Sweet.
I was gonna say I can go onto the website itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually doing. But I got it right here. So last place, we have Evan Kearns, aka Educated Snick, with 4 points, which is tough. It's because
I want to say some things here. Locks, fantastic. Calvin Heimberg got me 10. Was looking like maybe the winner, but ultimately not. But still, 10 points is great. Ohn Scoggins gets me 25. Great picks. I got on the Madison Walker train for FPO Pop on my own accord. 29 points. Fantastic. Unfortunately, Nico, negative 31 points for me. And then unfortunately, with my own doing and trying to take on this challenge that has just totally thrown me to the ground. It's like, I don't know, trying to pick a fight with the biggest guy in the room and then just getting pummeled. That's what this challenge has been to me. I got negative 29 points from both of those. So all my good picks got erased by my own doing, and then by the taking pops as drops. And so I finished with 4 points on the week and not gaining any ground, actually losing ground on everybody else, as is the case.
Yep. So next year you're gonna have to do your own drops. We got Matt coming in fourth with 32 points. His biggest, he did well. He picked Elias and Midling to drop and Vanessa Van Dyken to pop and James Conrad to pop, but Joel Freeman, he got him -15 to drop, and Joel played very well. Congratulations, Joel. Then we got third place, Nick, with
1 point ahead of Matt, the
Yes.
inquisitive aardvark.
yes, your
I actually,
knowledgeable mongoose.
yeah, I actually loved my pop pick. Mr. Danny Scott, Aiden Scott locked me in 56
Danny
points with that. I ended up with 33 points overall. So obviously I had some mishaps. One of my biggest ones being Ezra Robinson. At the event, he was my drop just because we went playing so well. So I was like, maybe I'll have a bad weekend. Nope, had a great weekend. I had Matthew Oram winning this event. Come to find out, Matty O wasn't even playing the event.
Yep.
But, of course, I didn't see a post about it, so I missed the deadline in being able to switch my lock pick. Hannah Wynn got me 1 whole point. Natalie Ryan, -8 points. She, I think, is averaging 8th or 10th place, and so I figured bad weekend gets me some points. Nope. And then I had Like winning the event, maybe popping off right before Worlds. Obviously was not in the podium, so I got no points for that as well. Anyway, so I had one good pick last week, which for me, I'm trending upwards. I am stoked for Worlds. I think I have my picks dialed for the World Championships.
All right, Ben, who's next?
Second is me, Blue Ant, Blank Gang. Yo, comment below if you're Blank Gang. I got Kevin Jones in my pop, 5 points. My biggest hurt was Luke Humphreys. Congratulations, Luke. I feel like you heard me on the last podcast saying, like, you know, I picked you as a drop other than last week, and then I picked you as a drop this week, and you played way better. So congratulations. That's awesome. -26 points on me for Luke Humphrey drop. But I had some solid locks. I had Isaac Robinson lock, which I thought he was going to win until hole 13. Madison Walker with my pop. Holland Hanley with my drop, which was whatever, but I also picked Ohn Scoggins. So that's what helped me out. But the Luke Humphreys finishing so well. Again, congratulations, Luke. Really hurt me and gave me -26 points. And the winner of this week for the hosts is Josh. He picked Ohn Scoggins and he picked Barella to drop, and that's about all he did.
Literally, 2 out of 6 picks got him those points that smoked the rest of us. I think that was 52 of his points, and then he had 5 points for Kevin Jones popping.
Yeah, he had 3 goose eggs, and he whooped us. Ooh,
and he whooped
57.
Us,
yeah, so sometimes that's all it takes. It's just like one good pick. I mean, Matt's saying if you picked Adam Hams to drop, like I think it was last event, you would have got like it would have beaten the #1 player, which is insane. And then shout out to Blue Narwhal winning it all, 122 points. He picked Connor Rock to pop, Silas Schultz to drop, Gannon-Bird to lock, Cynthia Ricciati to pop, Rebecca Cox to drop, and then Ohn Scoggins to lock. So he did well, and
way better than
you will be receiving a Hooligan Disc gift in the mail. We'll get your email, and I think Matt handles that, so he'll get that sent over. But yeah, shout out Hooligan Disc for presenting this segment. Y'all are amazing. Go cop a cash. Use code Ben10 for 10% off. And Hooligan Disc. And go putt with the dimes. The dimes are such a good putter. I think it's going to be like the new wizard. Like everyone's just going to putt with dimes.
I was going to say, what is similar to a dime? So people know, is it a beaded putter? Is it not a beaded putter?
It's a beaded putter. It's a beaded putter in Gateways plastic. It's similar to a wizard, but it might be something that you might better than a wizard. I switched from Rainmakers to the dime, and it was actually helped me get better at putting. It was like seamless. It wasn't like, oh, like this is terrible. Like I actually enjoy putting with them.
Nice. So, little funny story before we kind of wrap things up is I went out to Jacksonville this past weekend to hang out with the Macbeths, and Paul and I were out and about, and we were making a joke about my pop drop lock game, in the sense of like,
Your game.
well, I like my game as in like my picks and stuff like that,
Okay.
and like you would say like your disc golf game, my game. But anyway, so we were talking about our picks, and then in the meantime, we were debating we potentially were going to drive down to Miami to go watch Dylan pitch against the Marlins. Ended up not doing it, but we were watching the game on his cell phone. And in the first inning, Dylan let up 4 or 5 runs, 3 or 4 runs.
No,
Like
not
that.
the curse.
Like started off so bad, dude. Like they were just swinging first pitches and they were hitting everything, and let up a home run that I don't know exactly how ERAs work, but the runs didn't end up counting. They didn't end up counting against him, so he technically only had like a 2.0 ERA that game. Yeah. But anyways, Paul legitimately asked me. He was like, "So what is this curse?" He's like, "Because this literally happens every time." Dylan's been pitching incredible the last 5 starts, like no hitter, 1 hitters, 2 hitters, 0 earned runs, pitching incredible. Literally the one game that I actually get to sit down and watch, he gets lit up in the first inning. And so we were just making a joke. It was like, it really sucks not being able to watch my friends succeed, because that's like all I want. I just want to watch my friends do well in their respected sports, in their lives and everything like that. And so we were making a joke is that I have to post my pop drop locks, but then I have a secret pop drop lock that I make, and I personally will go off the second one, and maybe the universe will see the first one. And anyways, it was just funny, but he was like, "Yeah, we got to figure out this whole curse thing." Because I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I want to come up to the World Championships, but if it's going to cause you to lose, then I can't go."
Okay, as a big proponent of curses aren't real, what do you got to say about you caddying for Simon Lizotte at last year's Music City Open?
Yeah,
and Simon just shredding winning from Chase Card.
Winning from, I don't know. I guess it's just, apparently I don't like Simon, and that's why he did well. So
oh my goodness. He's only your second favorite disc golfer.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just funny. And maybe it's because we talk about the curse so much that it actually happens. But funny enough, I did text Dylan and I was like, "Hey man, this game's on me. I was watching. I'm sorry." And then he just goes, "Damn it, Nick."
Nick's on me. I mean, this game's on me is hilarious.
But there's been times where I remember the first round of the European Disc Golf Festival out in Estonia. The first round, first shots that I turned on to coverage, it's when I think it was like hole 5, and Paul was behind this kind of like brick building that was in his way, and he literally smoked it on his second shot, and I was like, okay, so that's how this is going to go. And then he proceeded to, I think, bogey that hole. And it's funny because sometimes when like something just out of this world will happen like that, he'll text me and be like, "Turn off the coverage right now." And it's just like, damn, I wasn't even watching this time. And anyways,
that's so funny.
Just funny little story.
Hilarious.
But anyways, anything else from you guys? We've got technically a weekend off of just kind of chilling out. I think actually really quick, one last thing that I did want to shout out is Am Worlds was this past weekend, and Ryan Mon was able to complete the Am Slam. So 3 major championships in the amateur division this year. He was able to win all 3 of them. I think at this point we can call him a bagger, and that he better be moving up to MPO, unless NADGT is something that's at the end of the year. Maybe that's what he's also doing as well. But the dude's won a pro A tier and didn't even accept cash at it, and that's just wild to me. Well, not wild to me, but like that's just crazy how good of a player he is. But then Virginia Polkinghorn was able to win in the FPO division. I do want to give a shout out really quick to the second place FPO player, Brooke Johnson. When I was living in the Lynchburg area, she was someone who traveled down a lot to hang out with. What were you guys saying?
You said FPO like 3 times.
Oh, I'm sorry. FA1.
FA1. It's okay.
FA1.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I was here correcting you, and you were just
tired.
rolling. So
yeah, I'm tired. I was just on a roll. Anyways, FA1. Maybe she'll go FPO now. Virginia Polkinghorn, shout out to Brooke Johnson with the second place finish, and those are the only 2 things that pop up on the PDGA page. So shout out to them.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, because I mean, as an employee of the PDGA, that is something that I should have been pushing in the recap. And oh man, it's just been one of those days, and didn't write it down. So thanks, Nick, for bringing it up, because those are fantastic stats, and I'm stoked that you guys just Am Slam rolls right off the tongue. shout out to the social team, marketing team, all that pushing that, because that's really cool to see, and the excitement around winning 3 amateur majors in a year, includes a junior major, which is of course an amateur division. So that's really cool to see. And Statmando posted some of these stats, which I find fascinating, is the number of players to win those 3 majors that Ryan Mon just won, an MA1 or a junior division for Junior Worlds. So that's US AMs and MA1. That was up in Michigan every year, or at least of recent age, up at Toboggan. AM Worlds was in Michigan, although on the other side of the state in Grand Rapids, I believe. Ryan Mon wins that in MA1, and then he wins Junior Worlds, which was the one that Matt was down in. Matt Graham of the show, of course, out in Oklahoma. And so Ryan Mon won that in the oldest junior division. He does that all in 1 year, which is the first time that's been done in a mixed division, or those 3 events in a single year too. But Anthony Barella and David Wiggins Jr. are the only other players to win those 3 events in a mixed division. In
all in the same year?
In their career.
Okay.
And Ryan Mon's the first to do it all in 1 year.
Not
Wiggins has a number of junior world titles, and Barella won, I think, Junior Worlds a few years prior, and I think he won it in MJ2 or 3, which again was before it went to age-based numbering systems. So very cool to see. And then also Janice Jones, I believe her name, was the first player to win 3 amateur or technically junior by this category majors in a year, but she did an FA 60, so of course not a junior major, but winning that would be US Women's, Tim Selinsky US Masters, and Masters Worlds, all in a single year. So she did that last year, becoming the first person to win 3 amateur titles in a single year. But then Ryan Mon does it this year in very different divisions. So awesome to see. And the Am Slam is just such a fun name. Can't stop saying it. So
yeah,
very cool. Thanks for bringing that up, Nick.
So
Am Slam.
Am Slam. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode 201 of Staggered Stand. Shout out to Disc Golf 978 and Hooligan Discs for helping us out every single week, bringing you guys fun things to do. Go check out their websites, use our discount codes on them. You guys be able to get some awesome swagger. Tell someone you love them this week. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. We're on all your favorite podcast platforms. And then tune in next week for the Insider Pass to the MVP Open. Matt will have the rules and the regulations to win that. Check us out also on popdroplock.com. It's the simplest thing to do if you want to kind of have some fun with your picks throughout the week. Popdroplock.com. Tell someone you love them this week. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
See y'all later.